off on Inside Lehman. Do you really know what you're eating? Whether eating in or dining out, we'll show you what it takes to eliminate trans fats from your diet.
Building a better food supply. Researchers study the genetics of corn to help feed the world.
We'll meet students who go beyond the four walls to make New York City their classroom.
And a classic comes back to the stage, complete with a musical journey back in time.
So sit back and relax because Inside Lehman starts now.
Hello and welcome to Inside Lehman. I'm Maurice Mercado.
And I'm Giselle Fernandez. When people think of cornfields, the Bronx is probably not the first place that comes to mind.
That's right, Giselle, but the half-acre cornfield growing right here on the Lehman College campus will help find new ways to reduce vitamin A deficiency in developing countries.
Inside Lehman's Sarah Sumler will tell us more about it.
Corn has been growing here in this 5,000 square foot research field each season since 2003. With every planting, researchers from the Plant Biological Sciences program at Lehman College learn more about the genetics of corn. This is considered to be the only field of its kind in New York City. Dr. Eleanor Wurtzel is the chair of the CUNY Plant Sciences PhD sub-program. She heads a team of scientists including graduate students, undergraduates, and visiting scientists from around the world. They are studying how the behavior of plant genes affects the nutritional content of provitamin A carotenoids. These are naturally occurring compounds important to human health.
For the researchers, having a cornfield on campus, it's a great convenience. But for the students, the advantage is that we're in the middle of the Bronx. Pavement, certainly no cornfields around. And I think that one disadvantage for students here, even people living in the Bronx in general, is that people don't have a chance to see what plants really look like when they're growing.
The corn is grown naturally and it is not genetically modified. Instead, researchers use the natural diversity of the plant to determine which strains produce the highest nutritional content.
So corn of these color varieties is the type of corn we would grow in our cornfield. Then we bring it back to the research laboratory where we begin to look at the genes that are responsible for the colors in these corn.
Carotenoids are naturally occurring compounds that are converted into vitamin A in the body. Without these, there are serious risks of eye disease and other illnesses.
We're working on a problem that's related to global vitamin A deficiency that affects 250 million children under the age of 5 all over the world. That's equivalent to the entire population of the United States.
The reason I went into this was I wanted to do something meaningful. I wanted to do something that would help people. We're trying to improve the nutritional value of these cereal crops like maize and rice, which are staples in many third world countries.
Researchers use high-tech machines to study the gene sequences of the different types of corn. The ever-increasing role of computers in the laboratory has created a relatively new field in biology, known as bioinformatics.
Bioinformatics is the melding of two disciplines, biology and computer science. So someone who is versed in computer science can provide the tools to actually analyze and extract information from genome sequence. So it's a very important area of growth in biology.
I knew of Dr. Wurtzel's work in carotenoid biosynthesis, and I knew of the experimental systems she is working with, and I thought perhaps I could make a contribution by adding some more systems tools and aspects to her work and make use of the very in-depth knowledge she has of the maize system.
This research has received more than $7 million in grants from the National Institutes of Health and other groups. The funds give students access to cutting-edge technology and the chance to participate in research with a global impact.
I'm a biochemistry major, so it's very important that I learn all these techniques that I'm using here in this lab. So what this is basically helping me to do is get the experience that I need and the competency I need to go forward and get become more competitive in the field. This will help me also get back to communities in Africa because, as we know, malnutrition is one of the biggest problems in Africa.
This research may improve the nutritional value of corn in the future, not only in developing countries, but also the corn that people may find on grocery store shelves here in the Bronx. Sarah Semler, Inside Lehman.
When we look at the nutrition box on the items that we buy at the supermarket, we see our usual suspects, calories and fat. But now, trans fats have entered the public's consciousness. Inside Lehman's Lou Gonzalez shows us what trans fats mean to you and your diet.
Do you really know what trans fats are?
I have been hearing about it lately, and I believe it has a lot to do with cholesterols and things like that.
Yeah, they're bad fats.
What is that?
It's a type of fat. It's a fat that's not good for you.
Oh, well, I got that too a little bit.
You will hear many different answers when you ask someone to explain his or her understanding of what trans fats are. We all know they're not good for you, but why? And what does it do to our bodies to cause New York City to declare a ban on restaurants cooking with trans fats in 2008? We spoke with Professor Andrea Boyer, chair of Lehman College's Department of Health Sciences, to get some insight on this health risk.
Trans fats are fatty ingredients that are found in foods, and they are created during the manufacturing process. Primarily, trans fats are found in foods that are spreadable, used for baking, like margarines, shortening, anything that has in the ingredient label partially hydrogenated fat.
Trans fats can be created when liquid vegetable oil is converted into a spreadable solution, but it's much more than that. Avoiding margarine and shortening will not keep you away from trans fats. Many desserts and some fried foods contain trans fats. Label watching is key, but even something that appears to be clear can be misleading.
If something says 0 grams of trans fat, you have to realize that in that portion size, in order to say 0, it has to be less than a half a gram. So anything less than a half a gram is labeled 0, but if you say have something has 0.4 grams in a serving and you have 2 servings, you almost have a gram of trans fat in those 2 servings. So it can get a little tricky, particularly when a serving size is only 1 tablespoon and you're eating 4.
According to the Food and Drug Administration, it is scientifically proven that trans fats raise low-density lipoprotein, or bad cholesterols, which increases the risk of coronary heart disease. For this reason, the New York City Board of Health voted unanimously to ban trans fats from all restaurants. At Lucia's restaurant in Manhattan, they didn't wait for the ban to take effect. They decided to take some healthy steps.
We use a lot of olive oil. Some of them is imported from Portugal, and we do use the oils for fry that is contain trans fat, and was a process for us to get in time with the changes, just because I did not want to change the food flavor.
Lucia's made the transition to being trans fat free, but some changes had to be made when they started using non-trans fat oil.
We encountered that without using the trans fat, for example, our French fries were not coming up as crispy as people like. And so I did have to go through 3 different products till we find one. And I did change the, because we are in a Portuguese and Espanol cuisine, we didn't have a problem in going from the regular French fry to the round potato, which is very thin and keeps, it's crispy, gets crispy much better than the regular fries, the long fries.
While restaurants like Lucia's are becoming trans fat free, that does not eliminate trans fats from your diet. Some items in your local supermarket contain trans fats.
You can look at the ingredient list, and if there's a partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, that means that there's likely to be trans fat in that product. And that's coming again from the partially hydrogenated vegetable oil. Fully hydrogenated, or anything that says hydrogenated, will not have trans fats. That's not what is the source of trans fats.
New York City is not alone when it comes to dealing with trans fats. Westchester County and the city of Boston recently began to ban trans fats. Maryland state legislators are even exploring a possible statewide ban.
Public awareness is increasing because we are hearing about trans fats a lot these days. And I think that when you're talking about a public health measure that affects millions of people, that yes, we will see a potential improvement in people's health by avoiding trans fats.
I think this is to prevent from, people from having problems in the future putting in so much trans fat. I think is great.
Maintaining good health starts with making the right choices. So when you go to the supermarket, have a keen eye and be careful about what you're eating. You never know how it will affect you in the future. Lou Gonzalez, Inside Lehman.
Still ahead, being an honors student has its benefits, especially when you're in New York City. We'll show you how it all comes together.
And the future is now. Ground is broken for a new research center that's cutting edge and environmentally friendly.
All that and more when Inside Lehman returns.
Lehman College, brilliance in the Bronx.
Welcome back to Inside Lehman.
Students who distinguish themselves with academic excellence are enjoying the benefits of their hard work.
Many of Lehman's highest achieving students are enriching their educational experience in the Macaulay Honors College, a CUNY-wide program that blends academic study with the rich cultural resources of New York City.
Inside Lehman's Mariela Cherry tells us more.
I think it was called Subway
Being a
Stare.
student at Macaulay Honors College at Lehman College is a voyage of discovery. Students experience New York City, one of the cultural capitals of the world, to link their academic study to New York's artistic, scientific, and business communities.
Well, the Honors College is an opportunity for the finest students to join CUNY. It's an interdisciplinary program. It provides access to a major center in New York City, and it's a way for the students, the best students, to come to CUNY and to be a part of its history.
At Lehman, Macaulay Honors College students take required interdisciplinary seminars and also receive study grants for research outside the classroom, study abroad opportunities, and graduate and professional advising. All of these advantages help students explore more of the city of New York, the backdrop and emphasis of the Honors College program.
We look at the arts and culture of New York. We look at the peopling of New York, which is about changing demographics and immigration. We look at science and technology of New York, and then future and public policy of New York. And so for our students, most of whom are from the city, they get a chance to look at not only classroom learning, but then a place that they know like the back of their hand, and how do they figure out what the challenges and opportunities are that most excite them about the future.
The program emphasizes student and faculty interaction, and each seminar uses the city of New York for primary research. One of these seminars, The Peopling of New York, investigates the role of immigration and migration in shaping New York City's identity, past, present, and future.
We see the grid, absolutely.
We see the beginnings of Robert Moses' idea.
Well, we see the beginnings of what Gonzalez talks about, right, in her book about the Bronx, in terms of the transportation developments and the economic development being so important to bringing the Bronx into New York City.
Well, this is one of 4 seminars that the students take in their first 2 years. Each of them focuses on a different aspect of New York City. So this one is largely the history and immigration in New York.
Lehman's Macaulay Honors College students are also expected to study abroad, and funding makes it possible.
I went to London for a winter, first winter I was here, winter session, and the second session I went to Japan. I went to Tokyo and Hiroshima and Kyoto. And those kind of experiences, that's something that I used to look up to and look forward to when I was in high school, but never really thought was possible for me until I came here. And it was just an amazing, incredible experience to be able to be in a different culture and immerse yourself in the food, the music, the clothing, I mean just everything, the lifestyle. It was just very different and I loved it.
The Cultural Passport is another benefit that Honors College students receive, granting them free or discounted admission to many of New York's cultural landmarks.
Through this program, through the Cultural Passport, through the kinds of courses that they take, really have a chance to learn not only about the local lore of New York City, but about how it really has been an engine for this country and also in a global environment.
Professor Gary Schwartz is the director of Macaulay Honors College at Lehman, as well as the Lehman Scholars Program. He finds great satisfaction as students are recognized for their achievements.
We have two students who've just gotten both into NYU Law School, and one of them has gotten into Yale Law School. I think that's a really great statement about Lehman and Macaulay and how things work together.
And sometimes there's an internal deadline because for some of these scholarships, each institution may nominate only.
One of the ways students can continue their education after Macaulay is with a prestigious scholarship.
One of the reasons we put together our prestigious scholarship website, because in some campus websites, all of the scholarships are mixed together, and there's no distinction made between the Smith Family Foundation scholarship for $200 and the $30,000 for 6 years that the Cook Foundation will give you. And I should give the website address, www.cuny.edu/the-word prestigious. Website has summaries of about 30 scholarships and fellowships, most of them nationally competitive. Several of them are just local and pertain only to CUNY students or to just New York students. But in general, they're for graduate study in general, although some are for undergraduate study.
Macaulay Honors College students receive full tuition for 4 years and a laptop computer. They also receive a study grant of up to $7,500 to support experiences such as study abroad and internships. Many of the students already know what they want to do once they graduate from the Honors College.
I want to go into the museum art world. I am thinking about a museum education. I want to save the world through the arts, and that's my goal.
I want to work with children, but I'm not sure quite in what area, either in research for classroom learning methods or actually clinical. I haven't decided yet.
I'm actually in the process of getting certified as a math teacher. So currently I have an internship in high school. So I work with 12th graders and math, and I work with the teacher closely and basically kind of getting a feel for what it's going to be like once I start teaching.
I plan on taking the CPA exam and eventually becoming a certified public accountant and work in an accounting company.
In the course of completing their studies, Macaulay Honors College students at Lehman become world travelers, scholars, and researchers, with the tools and perspective necessary to achieve their goals. Mariella Cherry, Inside Lehman.
Here at Lehman, ground has been broken on a new science center. It's high-tech, and in keeping with the 21st century, it's environmentally green. That and more is all part of our Lehman Minute.
Community leaders joined Lehman College to celebrate the first step in the construction of a cutting-edge science building. Measuring 69,000 square feet, Lehman's new environmentally green building will feature state-of-the-art labs for research.
The discoveries that are made here will resound as well in prestigious scientific journals, at conferences around the world, and in new knowledge and new medicines that impact in our daily lives.
This beautiful campus is now made even more beautiful by this investment because it's not only physically beautiful, but it's beyond the immediate. It's an investment in our future. I think it's a wonderful day in the Bronx.
Today we celebrate one of those components of the Decade of Sciences and the construction of a new science building here at Lehman.
The building is intended to promote greater collaboration among the various areas of scientific study. Students will be able to follow an academic research path that goes from undergraduate to doctoral studies. Nicole Rodriguez, Inside Lehman.
Up next, can you spot the next home run king or find an all-star fielder? We'll take a look at the never-ending search for up-and-coming talent.
Plus, Hands Across the Sea and the songs of Noel Coward, bringing a classic comedy back to the stage. Anticipation is brewing on the baseball field here at Lehman College as the coaches try to scope out new talent and the players try to bring it all together. Inside Lehman's Leo Fortes has the story.
John Quirk spent his first year as the head coach of the Lehman Lightning, evaluating talent and planning ahead to improve in future seasons. He knows that as players move on, you have to make sure there's plenty of talent coming up through the ranks. Coaching is a mixture of applied knowledge, scouting, and psychology.
I will tell you this, my kids are disciplined, they're quiet, they're all good kids. They don't run their mouth. That's all I want. I want them to show up here, represent this college with respect, and just act like a grown-up, and that's all I ask.
Assistant coach David Malave is always on the lookout for up-and-coming talent, taking the time to recruit future players on the road. The coaching staff's first task was to improve the players on the roster with practice, practice, practice. Coach Ray Cornish works with the catchers because footwork is an important part of every position. The task at hand involves making sure players perfect the art of hitting and fielding consistently, both at home and on the road. One of the things that any coach quickly learns is that developing talent is a two-way process, because the coach must also take a hard look at whether his own techniques will produce the right results.
I think I got to be a little harder on the guys. You know, I mean, I was always like one of those guys that had a problem with my coaches being hard on me, but now I realize every coach I had now, I apologize to them every time I see them. I'm like, you know what, I know what you went through, man, and I would have ran me too.
Another strategy is to lure players who left everyone they know in New York and went to play in other programs out of state. Bringing them back can add a spark to the men who call themselves the Lightning.
Sometimes going away isn't the best idea because you'll end up coming back anyway. You can build at home and have support of your family and, you know, get the same thing out of it.
Some people are homesick, you know. I mean, I really didn't, when I went away to play pro ball, I wanted to leave the first day. I'm just going to tell you, you'll get a great education, you'll have 4 great years of baseball, and you know what? You'll work hard and you'll be a man when you leave here.
If all goes well, the recruiting and practice could pay off with even more successful seasons ahead. The coaches say they're looking for a few good ball players who love the game. Of course, ask anyone, it always feels better to win. Leo Fortes, Inside Lehman.
Now let's turn back the hands of time traveling to 1930s London. Inside Lehman's Barbara Torres tells us about an evening where the words and music of Noel Coward turned the Lehman stage into an upper-crust British drawing room.
Many remember Noel Coward's work fondly for more than one reason. A wonderfully witty playwright and a composer. This meant there was plenty of material to work with. The singers opened the evening with sophisticated and well-known Coward songs, which preceded the production of the one-act light comedy Hands Across the Sea. The play first came to the stage in England in 1936. Marilyn Soko, distinguished lecturer in Lehman's Department of Journalism, Communication, and Theater, and actor and singer herself, directed the show.
The feel of the language, the feel of the society was just the kind of aristocracy that I wanted these students to understand, to get a feel for.
Many of the theater students acting in the show found that picking up the British accent, especially given the fast-paced dialogue, presented quite a challenge. But it was an opportunity to step out of their usual comfort level and expand their acting, speaking, and vocal experience.
I shan't be leaving till about 10, and if he leaves it by 9:30, I'll get it all right.
Glendala Sosa stepped up to the microphone for a musical journey back in time.
The key of the songs were really high, so then we had to transpose them. And then after that, then I got used to it. And it's also different the way we sing now than they used to sing before. It's very, very different. So then I had to adjust the way, also use my opera training with my pop training to kind of put it all together and see how it sounds.
The comedy of manners is set in London during the 1930s. Coward pokes fun at these idle rich, who surround themselves with others they would like to impress. Even for the parts of the performance that didn't involve singing, Marilyn Sokol played Noel Coward's music to give everyone a feel for the era and lifestyle that they would portray.
It's hard for them to immerse themselves into a make-believe society where people are just so rich. They're just enjoying themselves all the time because it's wonderful. And I say every day is a party, you know? And I did say to them tonight, you've all been drinking. You're not drunk, but you've all, it's like a festivity every day. And they got it. They really got it, you know.
In the drawing room of the Nouveau Rich characters, Piggy and Peter Gilpin, their social climbing goals keep their phone ringing and obligate them to entertain a parade of visitors in their home. The Gilpins can barely mask their lack of interest in these visitors, who are somewhat confused by the odd behavior of their hosts.
And I really want to take on something that projected, I guess, a British aristocracy, and I thought it was challenging for me.
My biggest challenge was volume. You see, I have a tendency to speak very softly, you know, and Ms. Sokol was really trying to get me to speak more louder and give me more courage and try to teach me how to speak from my diaphragm and not from my throat. You know, but I think I was able to accomplish that tonight.
So I'd say the hardest part would be not caring, because I'm a social guy and I'm usually smiling all the time. But on stage for the show, it's playing the exact opposite of myself. So I'm just this miserable sort of dude.
The actors managed to immerse themselves in the culture of Britain's high society. Going to another time and place, they worked to make sure that their characters could come to life on stage. Barbara Torres, Inside Lehman.
And that's our show. As always, we want to thank our talented reporters and crew for all their hard work.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you soon with more news from Inside Lehman.
Thanks for watching.